Good afternoon to you. Mark Suttle with HurricaneTrack.com here with your hurricane outlook and discussion for the first day of July 2015. Happy Wednesday to you. Nothing really going on in the Atlantic Basin right now as expected, and at least for now, the next couple of days in the Eastern Pacific, not much going on. But when you click on the 5-day graphic, there is something popping up here. This one area well to the south and west of Cabo San Lucas and mainland Mexico here, this area of disturbed weather expected to become a tropical cyclone in the global models, really indicating this gets going. The good news is that it would move on out towards the west and not bother anybody. And the reason that we're going to be seeing this is because of this, the absolutely incredible amplification that is underway now of the Madden-Julian Oscillation in the Pacific region, and that will spread across the Pacific over time and set off what one of the hurricane forecasters said on Twitter I thought was very appropriate: an outbreak of tropical cyclones in the Pacific. I think that's a good way to put it. And this is the GFS. This is what the Euro looks like here, also pretty much equally as amplified. Just incredible to see this kind of an amplification in the Madden-Julian Oscillation. And again, what that does, this is a great sort of shot showing what this means. You get this increase in tropical convection. Here's the equator down here at the bottom. There's 5 degrees latitude, 10 degrees latitude, and so forth. So right here in the tropics, you get this really noticeable increase in upward motion or tropical convection. And out of this, you start to spawn these areas of low pressure in the northern hemisphere, and you get these tropical cyclones, tropical storms, hurricanes, typhoons in the western Pacific. In fact, this is a great chart from Weatherbell Analytics that I found on Twitter. Thought I would share it with you, that really illustrates what's coming up. This is 8 days from now. Here's the coast of Mexico over here, and you've got one pocket of low pressure, another developed cyclone, maybe a weak one here, and then another one here. So we could see 3 to 5 tropical cyclones form in the eastern Pacific, all within the next week to 10 days, because of this favorable upward motion pulse that is going to be working its way around the globe. Going back to that real quick, it's interesting. You do have the operational, sort of the mean here. You know what, I don't know if the green line is the operational or if it's the ensemble mean or the average. Either way, you can see that the green line indicates the MJO going into the null phase. In other words, we don't see it coming around like this, and meaning that we would expect to see development in phases 1 and 2, which favors the Atlantic Basin. So it'll be interesting to see if the models bring the Madden-Julian Oscillation sort of gradually around like this, so that there's just a little bit of amplification, or what. But notice, this is why this is so important. The shadow area sort of shows you the outline of the different ensemble members. It kind of gives you a shape of the consensus, if you will, sort of like how things are going. And look at that. I mean, you don't have to leave too much to the imagination. It looks to me like it tries to point in this direction after the 2-week time frame, and that's far enough out into time that we can feel comfortable with that. That this should evolve more towards de-amplification out of the Pacific, and then maybe a re-amplification into this region as we get later into July. And so that leads me to believe then that this map here for the Atlantic Basin should stay quiet for the next probably 10 to 20 days, but then after about July 20th, who knows, right? And it's amazing that we can kind of look at these things, because hurricanes don't just pop up out of nowhere. They have to have a pre-existing set of circumstances, weather conditions to be more specific, to come together and allow them to take place. You can have tropical waves coming across the Atlantic, no problem. But if there's a lot of shear coming across the top of them, or very dry sinking air through this region, or water temperatures aren't where they need to be, or whatever, then they aren't going to develop. So you may have 2 out of the 3 ingredients, or 2 out of 5, or whatever the case may be, depending on what all the different elements you're looking at. And sometimes that's not enough. You have to have the right combination, and this upward motion that the Euro and the GFS is forecasting for the Pacific is really substantial, as you can see here. So until we start seeing a lot of cloudiness, showers and thunderstorms in the Atlantic Basin, in fact I can show you that right now that we don't have it. This is a great example, sort of a juxtaposition of the 2 different maps. Look at the Atlantic Basin, just nothing. Just dusty, sinking, shear-laden air. Yeah, nothing's going to develop under that kind of a pattern. So it'll be interesting to see. This shape right here definitely starts to aim towards and bleeding just a little bit into the edge of the envelope here. That's the word I was looking for. The guidance envelope seems to be pointing into the direction of phases 1 and 2 beyond the 2-week time frame. So we'll watch that. For now, if you're in Hawaii, just kind of, or you're planning to go to Hawaii, just kind of, you know, hey, this is an active season for the Pacific. Really pay attention. Don't cancel plans. Don't worry. But pay attention to what's going on, either with our services, or if there's a weather app that you like to use. Whatever. Just be aware, if you're in the string of pearls, that the next couple of weeks you have a shot at having at least something maybe in the vicinity because of this pattern. And this right here, I think, you know, there you go. There's Hawaii right there. So, yeah, you got to watch out. You're going to have 4 of them lined up to your south and east. So just be aware. Mainland Mexico, not much of a problem right now, but you know how that can change. And with this pattern shifting towards development in the eastern Pacific, we'll have to keep our eyes open for something threatening areas like Manzanillo, Zihuatanejo, or the Baja of California. But nothing to worry about right now. All right, well, that's it from me for today. Again, I am Mark Sudduth for HurricaneTrack.com. Thanks, as always, for tuning in. Won't have an update tomorrow, but we will be back on Friday to talk about some things as we head into the Independence Day weekend. I want to keep you ahead of the curve, so I'll see you again on Friday.